Imagine finding a script so twisted, so wrong, that just reading the first page makes your skin crawl. By page 10, your hands are shaking. By page 20, you're not sure what's real anymore. They call it the madness of the hollow script. A screenplay that was never meant to be read, never meant to be finished. A story that's cursed, because everyone who tries to read it, loses their mind. Tonight, we're diving deep into one of the creepiest urban legends to ever haunt the internet. A creepypasta that's more than just a scary story, it's a warning. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll be questioning what's possible, and what's too dangerous to know. So, grab a blanket, dim the lights, and let's unravel the mystery of the madness of the hollow script. But here's the question, are you ready to read it? Hey, horror fam, welcome back to the channel where we dig into the darkest corners of the internet, from creepypastas to urban legends that keep you up at night. If you're new here, I'm your guide into the weird and terrifying, and trust me, you're in for a wild ride tonight. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because you don't want to miss what's coming. So, what is the madness of the hollow script? Picture this, a screenplay that's been floating around the internet since the early 2000s, passed from forum to forum, whispered about on Reddit threads and Discord servers. Nobody knows who wrote it. Nobody knows where it came from. But everyone agrees on one thing, if you try to read it, you won't come out the same. The legend says this script isn't just a story, it's a cognitohazard. A what, you ask? A cognitohazard is something that harms you just by perceiving it. Think of it like a virus for your mind. The moment you start reading, it hooks into your brain, and the deeper you go, the worse it gets. Some say it's a psychological experiment gone wrong. Others think it's something supernatural. But here's the kicker. Nobody's ever finished it. Not a single soul. Why? Because by the time you get to the final pages, you're not you anymore. Sounds like just another creepy story, right? But what if I told you there are people out there, real people, who claim they've seen it? Touched it? Read it? And what they describe, it's not just scary. It's horrifying. So, let's start at the beginning. Where did this cursed script come from? And why does it have such a hold over everyone who dares to open it? Alright, let's set the stage. The earliest mentions of the madness of the hollow script pop up around 2004, on an obscure internet forum called Shadowscript. Ever heard of it? Probably not, it's long gone, buried in the digital graveyard of the early internet. But back then, Shadowscript was a haven for horror writers, filmmakers, and weirdos like us who loved swapping creepy stories. According to the legend, a user named HollowPen posted a thread titled, "The Script That Shouldn't Be." They claimed they'd found a physical copy of a screenplay in an abandoned storage unit. No title page, no author, just a stack of pages bound in black leather. The first few pages seemed normal, a gritty crime drama set in a decaying city. But as the pages went on, the story started to unravel. Characters began speaking in riddles. Scenes described impossible geometry. And the words themselves? They started to move. HollowPen said they couldn't stop reading, even when they wanted to. It was like the script was pulling them in, page after page, until they hit page 47. That's when they blacked out. When they woke up, they were in a different room, the script nowhere to be found. And their memory? Shot. They couldn't remember a single detail of what they'd read, but they felt wrong. Like something had crawled inside their head and stayed there. The thread blew up. People begged HollowPen to share the script, but they refused. They said it was too dangerous. Then, just a week later, HollowPen's account went dark. No more posts. No more logins. They were just gone. But the story didn't die. Other users started claiming they'd found copies of the script too. Some said it showed up in their mailbox. Others found it on their computer, downloaded from a site they didn't remember visiting. Each story was different, but they all had one thing in common: nobody could read past page 50 without losing it. So, what was on those pages? What could be so terrifying that it breaks people's minds? And why does page 50 seem to be the point of no return? Stick around, because we're about to hear from someone who claims they made it to page 49, and what they saw will chill you to the bone. Okay, before we go any further, I need to set something up. I've spent weeks digging through old forums, Reddit threads, and even some shady corners of the dark web to find people who've allegedly read the madness of the Hollow Script. Now, these stories are unverified, and for legal reasons, I'm presenting them as fiction. But let me tell you, the way these people describe their experiences, it feels way too real. First up, there's Ellie. She says, I found the script in a used bookstore, tucked inside an old Stephen King novel. I thought it was a prank at first, you know? Just some weird prop. But when I started reading, it was like the words were alive. They didn't just tell a story, they demanded my attention. By page 20, I was hearing whispers in my house. By page 30, I couldn't sleep. And page 49. I saw myself in the script. My name. My life. Things I'd never told anyone. I threw it in the trash and burned it. But sometimes, I still feel it watching me. Chilling, right? But Ellie's not alone. Another user, going by Script Seeker, posted on a now-deleted Reddit thread about their encounter. They said the script appeared in their email as a PDF attachment, sent from an address that didn't exist. They read up to page 47 before their computer crashed. When it rebooted, the file was gone, but they started having nightmares about a city that wasn't a city. A place where the streets looped back on themselves, and the sky was wrong. These stories raise a big question: is this just a well-crafted creepypasta, or is there something more going on? Could a simple document really mess with your head like that? To answer that, we need to dive into the science of how words can become weapons. And trust me, what we're about to uncover is going to make you rethink everything you know about the power of text. What if I told you there's a psychological reason why certain texts can drive people to the edge? And what if the madness of the Hollow Script was designed to exploit that? Stay tuned, because we're about to explore the science of cognitohazards, and it's creepier than you think. Alright, let's get nerdy for a second. You've probably heard of things like optical illusions or earworms, those catchy songs that get stuck in your head. But what if I told you there's a whole field of study about information that can harm you just by being perceived? Welcome to the world of cognitohazards. A cognitohazard is any piece of information, text, sound, or image, that causes psychological or physical harm when you process it. Think of the urban legend about Polybius, the arcade game that supposedly caused seizures and amnesia. Or the Lavender Town Syndrome from Pokemon, where a high-pitched sound was blamed for driving kids to madness. These are fictional, sure, but they're rooted in a real phenomenon. Your brain can be manipulated by what it perceives. Psychologists call this priming. It's when your brain is exposed to something, a word, an image, a sound, that changes how you think or behave. For example, reading a scary story primes you to feel fear, even if you know it's not real. Now, imagine a text that's carefully crafted to prime you for something much worse. A text that uses specific patterns, rhythms, or even subliminal cues to overload your brain's processing centers. Studies on psychological priming show that repeated exposure to disturbing or disorienting stimuli can cause anxiety, dissociation, or even temporary psychosis. In extreme cases, it can trigger something called semantic satiation, where words lose meaning and start to feel like nonsense. Now, picture a script that deliberately uses these techniques: sentences that loop, descriptions that contradict themselves, words that seem to change when you look away. That's what people claim the madness of the Hollow Script does. It doesn't just tell a story, it rewires your brain. Before we go deeper, I want to take a quick moment to thank today's sponsor name. If you're loving these deep dives into the creepy and unknown, you'll want to check out sponsor product, perfect for brief product description. Use my code for discount at website. Alright, back to the madness. Okay, so we've got a creepypasta about a cursed script that messes with your head. But is this idea really that far-fetched? Let's look at history. There are plenty of real-world examples of texts that were said to drive people insane. Take the Necronomicon, a fictional book from H.P. Lovecraft stories that's so infamous, some people believe it's real. Or the Codex Seraphinianus, a bizarre, unreadable book from the 1970s filled with surreal illustrations and gibberish text. Readers report feeling disoriented just flipping through it. Then there's the Voynich manuscript, a 15th century book written in an unknown script that nobody's ever decoded. Scholars who've studied it for years describe feeling obsessed, like the book is taunting them with its secrets. These texts aren't cursed in a supernatural sense, but they tap into something primal, the human need to make sense of the unknown. When you can't, your brain starts to spiral. Now, let's bring it back to the madness of the hollow script. What if it's not just a story, but a modern take on these forbidden texts? A digital age cognitohazard designed to exploit how we consume information online? Think about it, we're bombarded with content every day, memes, videos, articles. What if something slipped through, something that wasn't meant to be seen? Something that uses the internet's endless scroll to trap you in its pages? We're getting closer to the heart of this mystery, but here's where things get really dark. What if the script isn't just a story, but a trap? A trap that's still out there, waiting for its next reader? Up next, we'll explore what happens when you reach the final pages, and why nobody's ever come back to tell the tale. Alright, horror fam, let's talk about what makes the madness of the hollow script so terrifying. It's not just the story, it's what it does to you. According to the Creepypasta, the script starts off normal, almost boring. A crime drama about a detective in a crumbling city, chasing a killer who leaves cryptic clues. But as you read, things start to feel off. The detective's thoughts become disjointed. The city's streets don't make sense. And the words? They start to twist. By page 30, readers report physical symptoms, headaches, nausea, a feeling like they're being watched. By page 40, the story isn't just a story anymore. It's personal. People claim they see their own names in the text, their own fears, their own secrets. And by page 49, well, nobody agrees on what's there, because nobody's ever described it clearly. Some say the words turn into symbols. Others say the pages are blank, but you still see something. And then there's page 50. The final page. The one nobody's ever finished. Why? Because the script doesn't let you. People who've tried describe blacking out, waking up hours later with no memory of what happened. Others say they felt compelled to destroy the script, burn it, shred it, delete it. But here's the creepy part, even after it's gone, the effects linger. Nightmares. Paranoia. A sense that something's still reading you. So, how could a simple document do this? Let's break it down. Psychologists say the human brain is wired to find patterns, even when there aren't any. It's called apophenia, and it's why we see faces in clouds or hear voices in static. A text like The Madness of the Hollow Script could exploit this by presenting information that's deliberately chaotic, sentences that almost make sense, descriptions that contradict themselves, patterns that lead nowhere. Your brain tries to solve the puzzle, but there's no solution. And that frustration? It can push you to the edge. There's also something called the expectation effect. If you're told a text is cursed, you're primed to feel fear before you even start reading. Add in the power of suggestion, say, a creepy forum post warning you not to go past page 50, and your brain does the rest. It's like a placebo, but for terror. You expect to lose your mind, so you do. But here's where it gets weirder. Some researchers think certain patterns of text or sound can trigger something called infrasound-like effects in the brain. Infrasound is low-frequency sound you can't consciously hear, but it can make you feel uneasy or sick. What if the script structure mimics that? What if the way the words are arranged creates a kind of mental infrasound? We're deep in the rabbit hole now, but we haven't even touched the darkest part yet. What if the madness of the hollow script isn't just a psychological trick? What if there's something otherworldly about it? Up next, we'll explore the supernatural theories, and a chilling story from someone who claims they saw the script's true author. Okay, let's shift gears. So far, we've looked at the madness of the hollow script through a psychological lens, but what if there's more to it? What if this isn't just a story or a mind trick, but something unnatural? Across the internet, there are whispers that the script wasn't written by a person at all. Some say it's a manifestation of collective fear, a kind of digital tulpa created by the internet's obsession with horror. Others think it's something older. Something that's been hiding in stories for centuries, waiting for the digital age to find a new form. One user, posting under the name Last Reader, shared a story that's become infamous in creepypasta circles. They claim they found the script on a USB drive left in a coffee shop. When they read it, they didn't just see their own name, they saw a figure. A shadow that stood at the edge of their vision, holding a pen. Every time they turned a page, the figure got closer. By page 49, it was standing right behind them, whispering words they couldn't understand. They didn't dare read page 50. Instead, they smashed the USB drive and burned the pieces. But the figure? It didn't leave. Stories like this make you wonder, is the script a doorway? A trap set by something that wants to be read? And if so, who, or what, is behind it? Some believe the script is a kind of ritual, a way to summon something by reading it. Others think it's a curse that spreads through attention, like a virus that infects anyone who even thinks about it too long. Which begs the question, are we safe just talking about it right now? Let's take a step back and put the madness of the hollow script in context. It's not the only cursed text in internet folklore. Think about Ben Drowned, the creepypasta about a haunted Legend of Zelda cartridge that traps players in a nightmare. Or Smile Dog, the image that supposedly drives viewers to madness unless they spread it to others. These stories all tap into the same fear, that something as simple as a game, a picture, or a script can reach out and grab you. But the madness of the hollow script feels different. It's not visual or interactive, it's just words. And yet, it's more personal. More invasive. Other creepypastas scare you with jump scares or creepy images, but this one gets inside your head. It makes you question your own thoughts, your own reality. And that's what makes it so powerful. It's not just a story, it's a mirror. Quick break to shout out our sponsor name. If you're hooked on this deep dive, you'll love sponsor product, perfect for brief description. Grab it at website with my code for discount. Alright, let's get back to the terror. So, why does the madness of the hollow script resonate so much in 2025? We live in a world where information spreads faster than ever. A single post on X can go viral in hours, reaching millions. And with that speed comes power and danger. The internet is a breeding ground for stories like this, where fear can spread like wildfire. Think about it, we're all primed to believe in curses now. We see warnings about "don't watch this video" or "don't click this link" all the time. The idea of a cursed script fits perfectly into our digital paranoia. It's like the ultimate chain letter, except instead of bad luck, it promises madness. And in a world where we're constantly scrolling, constantly consuming, the idea of stumbling across something wrong feels all too real. But here's the scary part, what if the script is still out there? What if it's hiding in a Google Drive folder, a Reddit link, or even a DM someone sent you? What if it's waiting for you to find it, to read it, to fall into its trap? And what if it's already found you? We're almost at the end, but there's one last piece of the puzzle we haven't touched. What happens if you try to finish the madness of the hollow script? And why does it feel like the script itself doesn't want you to? Stay with me, because the conclusion to this legend is going to blow your mind. Alright, horror fam, we've been through a lot tonight. We've explored the origins of the madness of the hollow script, heard chilling testimonials, dove into the science of cognitohazards, and even touched on the supernatural. But now it's time to tie it all together. What is this script, really? And why does it have such a hold over us? Let's start with the obvious. The madness of the hollow script is a creepypasta, a piece of internet folklore designed to scare and captivate. But it's more than that. It's a reflection of our deepest fears. Fear of the unknown, fear of losing control, fear of something that can reach into your mind and change you. It's a story that exploits our need to make sense of chaos, to find meaning in the meaningless. And in doing so, it becomes a kind of mirror, showing us the parts of ourselves we'd rather not see. From a psychological perspective, the script is a masterclass in priming and suggestion. It uses our own brains against us, creating a feedback loop of fear and obsession. But even if it's just a story, its power lies in how real it feels. The testimonials, the rumors, the warnings, they all feed into a kind of digital mass hysteria, where the line between fiction and reality blurs. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Not because it's cursed, not because it's supernatural, but because it makes you believe it could be. It's a reminder that in the digital age, stories aren't just stories, they're experiences. They're viruses. They're traps. And once you start reading, you're part of the story, whether you like it or not. So, what's the takeaway? If you ever come across the madness of the hollow script, in your inbox, on a forum, or tucked away in a dusty bookstore, think twice before you read it. Not because it's cursed, but because it doesn't need to be. Your mind is powerful enough to make it real. And maybe, just maybe, that's the true horror. Wow, what a journey. If you made it this far, you're a true horror enthusiast, and I'm so glad you're here. What do you think? Would you dare to read the madness of the hollow script? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let me know what other creepypastas or urban legends you want me to cover next. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a deep dive into the dark. And if you want to support the channel, check out our Patreon for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes goodies. Until next time, stay curious, stay spooky, and maybe check your inbox before you go to bed tonight. You never know what's waiting for you.